Hey, everybody, and welcome back to
Happy birthday, Mom!
Happy birthday, 50s, Mom. That's awesome. Now I know why you did that. Okay. Well, anyways, welcome to another edition of the Northern Countdown. I'm none other than your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always by my co-pilots, my co-hosts on this show, Ben and 50. How are you guys doing?
Tired. But good.
Oh, you're tired, right. So I had an interesting couple of days. Yesterday was my mom's birthday, so we went and had a nice steak dinner. Then I took her to see Doctor Strange because she hadn't seen it yet.
Nice.
And then I stayed up all night, getting everything ready to pre-record an episode of The Greatest Show in the Galaxy with some guests. So we started at around 6:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Because a certain guest was in Star Wars Celebration and he couldn't do it until after a certain hour. Then I got 2 hours of sleep before doing some work with my dad. And, well, I'm somehow still barely sentient. And now I got this show. And then we're doing the Northern Rankings later tonight. Yeah.
Here's hoping you get them.
Are you on that, 50?
I hope so. I mean, I talked to Dave about that. So
I didn't know. I'm on that too, so I didn't know.
I'll be watching.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
Anyways, I was gonna say, rest is for the weary, sleep is for the dead.
Which doctor said that?
Spoilers, I'll tell you after that. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Well, you know what? We should just hop into this list. So what I decided for my list is the inverse of last week, which was the top 5 best final seasons. Well, this is the top 5 best first seasons, which aren't always, you know what? I was looking at making my list. I realized none of my favorite shows are on this list.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah, it's just because for the most part, I find the first seasons generally weak, but these ones are the exception to the rule.
Especially when it comes to comedy.
For 100%. Only one of these is a true comedy.
Right.
Some of mine are some good ones, but the first season is definitely not the best.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, so I'm gonna start it off then. So my number 5 is the TV show Sex Education.
Damn. Nice.
That is a show that basically just for me, and I guess most of the world, just kind of came out of nowhere. It's a British show that explores sexuality in teens, and it does it in an open and honest way that can be quite funny at times. But the basic premise of the show is a teenage boy who has a sex therapist for his mom teams up with a high school classmate that he has a crush on, and set up an underground sex therapy clinic where the students pay them and he gives them advice, and it helps. And it's a wild show, but the coolest thing to come out of the show now is the new doctor, Ncuti Gatwa.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I personally do recommend this show. There is an actress on here who I think is going to have a big future. Kind of reminds me of young Margot Robbie, like literally in looks, and an actor named is Emma Mackey. She plays the main female lead. Definitely keep an eye out on her. She was just in the latest Poirot movie, The One on the Nile. Death on the Nile. She was just in there, yeah.
Death and Denial.
Yeah. And also, you've got Gillian Anderson, who's playing the mother in this movie, in the show. Yeah, definitely check it out if you're comfortable. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I watched episode 1 for recently obvious reasons, and I'm like, nope, not for me. I do not appreciate a lot of the stuff in it. I do not like any of the characters. Most of the characters are dicks, at least in the first episode. And I swear, I promise you, I'm not just saying that because of the circumstances. Literally, my favorite part about the first episode I saw was Shurigawa.
He's
And
got
I'm
a,
not. I'm
he's
not
got
just
an
saying that.
episode. He's got an episode later on where I believe it's in the first season where you see him in his home life, and I think that's an episode worth checking.
Is it a British show?
It is a British show, yeah.
Yeah.
British Netflix show. Like I said, it's great. You just got to be open-minded. This is the best way to put it.
Right on.
Yep.
Right
All right.
on.
And
Menu?
Taco, yeah, it's your turn next. Taco, I 100% agree. That's why I said like a lot of my favorite shows aren't on this list because of that reason.
So we're going me thinking and not 50?
Sorry,
Like usual?
go ahead, 50.
Yeah, that's why I said you said. Let's go back.
That's 50's version of yes and haha. Nope, I hated it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when you first asked me about it, I believe that my exact words were, "Thanks, I hated it," but
Yeah,
You know.
those were his exact words.
very close in GIF form. Now, my number 5, not what I would consider by far the best season of that show, but that show has a massive, massive legacy. So many seasons, decades of storytelling. I love that show dearly. And if that first season doesn't work, the rest of the show just it doesn't happen. The rest of the thing falls apart. And a lot of people do have fondness for the first season, even though I said it is not the best for technical and story reasons. And it's also probably the longest season on my list. Pokemon.
See, the way you were describing, I'm like, he couldn't have put Doctor Who this low on the list.
Yeah, I know.
I specifically structured my my build up to fool you guys, and it looks like it worked.
It did.
That being said, however, 22 seasons of that show. And like I
Wow.
said, the first, I mean, obviously, the video games are a massive worldwide success. It's,
Mhm.
I'm not even speaking in hyperbole, it's literally the biggest multimedia franchise in the world. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's like, and not only it's the number one, it's number one by a huge margin.
No.
Like, seriously, look it up. I believe the top 5 are like Pokemon, Hello Kitty, Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, Star Wars. Like,
Wow.
Wow, Star Wars is full? Really? Wow.
yeah, it might have changed since I last looked, but yeah, seriously, Koda, you're the googling guy. You can look it up if you want
Yeah,
to. But
for sure.
yeah, it is bonkers. So many crazy stuff, and this is even before they realized what they wanted this franchise to be. So there's real world animals in there for some reason. There's all kinds of weird random stuff. Like I said, it's the longest season on my list. I believe it's 72 episodes for the first season, which takes place around a little over a year story wise.
50? You nailed it in the right order.
Yeah. So
And number 10 is Harry Potter. Number 11 is the MCU. 12 is Spider-Man. 13 is Batman. Wow.
wow.
Anyway,
So
sorry.
see, when people say that the MCU is the biggest franchise in the world, it's not even top 10. It
Yeah,
just-
it's just barely
show
outside the top 10.
just shows you how tough it is
Right.
to.
Billion and a half. And what I'm interesting about this, it breaks it down into like you look at the graph. They've got video games, merchandise, trading cards, comic books, comics and manga, box office, whatever. Well, what's funny about that top 5 in terms of merchandise, Pokemon isn't the highest.
Really?
Yeah, the highest is actually Hello Kitty in terms of merchandise. If you're looking at the breakdown of the bar.
To be
No.
fair, I believe
Merchandise. We're the real money of the movie.
merchandise. I believe actually Hello Kitty like merchandise is like 90% of the
Yeah.
entire franchise.
Here's the breakdown.
Oh, wow.
See, look at how much of it is merchandising and how much of it isn't for Hello
Right.
Kitty.
Oh yeah. That's insane. And I mean, like, look at Mario.
It's me, Mario.
It's me, Mario.
There's a few of them I'd never heard of, but anyways,
Yeah.
proceed.
Japanese franchises tend to do really well. Speaking of merchandising, by the way, there's a guy on YouTube. He actually did an entire video explaining, or rather exploring, can he actually survive living off entirely of Pokemon merchandise? And watching that video, you have no idea how much Pokemon just has a foothold in human life. I mean, it's not just toys. It's not just, and he lives his life entirely off of Pokemon merchandise. I'm not just talking about bed sheets, plates, forks, knives, shirts, Pokemon cars, Pokemon deodorant, Pokemon soap, Pokemon food products, everything. Like, living in an entirely Pokemon house. It's like, I'll have to send it to you at one point, but it's crazy. He even manages to make a not so healthy but sustainable meal made entirely of products that Pokemon has done promotions with in the past. It's insane. That being said, I believe the anime and that first season did have a huge major role bringing that whole franchise into the public consciousness. And yeah, like I said, if the first season doesn't work, and the first season in and of itself, the way they took so many things and plot elements from the original games, even some stuff that could be considered playground myths and rumors, they incorporated it all into the game, and it's done incredibly. And the first season, I should say, and it's really good. It's one of the best first seasons of any show out of, and obviously, like I said, 22 seasons. Don't lie.
It's pretty impressive.
Right.
All right, Ben. Now it's your choice.
Now,
Roasted Psyduck?
Not sure what it's in reference to.
interesting. Now, my number 5 is
Oh,
How
I
many-
get it. Pokemon food. Yeah, roasted Psyduck. Yeah. Good one, Taco. Good
I
one.
wonder if it's any good as roasted porgs.
Anyway, my number 5 is a superhero show that gets criminally underrated. I think it's one of the most authentic superhero shows, more or less from the 90s. Lois and Clark, the Adventures of Superman.
Not on my list.
I
I was thinking
What?
about it. It's not on my list, but I was thinking about it.
think the first season is so well done. It feels like a Superman show. And you have Lex Luthor, you have a living planet. It's so well done. I like it. And I like the episodic nature of that first season. It feels like a fun superhero show of the 90s.
Yeah, what's fun about that show? It's a romantic comedy about Superman and Lois, but it's done from the perspective of Clark Kent is the person and Superman is the identity. Where at media up at that point, it's the other way around, based on John Byrne's reboot of the Superman franchise with Man of Steel. Great comic book, guys, go read it. But yeah, no, it was just so much fun to see to see how they were putting that spin on this tale. And unfortunately, we only got Lex Luthor for this one season. He did make an appearance, I think, in the next season, and that was it.
No, he had a recurring arc in season 3.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, but I mean, like as a regular, we only had the one season.
Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's definitely worth watching out. This was the first live action Superman show that I watched, and I was watching it live as it was playing. I do own all 4 seasons back there somewhere, right there. Yeah, it's a fun show. Put your political feelings about Dean Cain aside. Like, I seriously think you should, if you have them, and just check out the show.
And also, I've been saying this for years. It came out ahead of its time. Because it's basically Castle with Superman.
Yeah.
When it came out in like 2009, I couldn't see it lasting a few more seasons easy.
And it did get 4 seasons before it got canceled.
Yeah. And I think the reason it got canceled after 4 seasons is because it was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
It was also at a weird time in comic books because it was done concurrently with the death of Superman. That's why the wedding got pushed off so much. They had actually planned to marry them off earlier in the series.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so now.
Fun fact, I think it might be the Lex Luthor character or one of the other prominent characters from that show, but I think one of them is the voice of Superman's grandfather in the animated series in the 90s. And fun fact, I believe he's also the Asylum guy from Beauty and the Beast, the animated movie.
I don't know. I'm actually going to look that up.
Yeah, it's definitely him. I just don't remember which character he played in the thing.
Servon. Oh, of course, when you go into a wiki and it doesn't tell you squat about who the actor is.
You want to go? You want to
look at it later? Okay.
Yeah.
So my number 4 is a cultural phenomenon that actually just debuted its latest season yesterday. Stranger Things.
Oh, that's right. Season 4. I didn't know. I forgot about that.
Season 4.
Season 4.
Yeah, I said season 4.
You said 5.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, hold an all-nighter. 2 hours of sleep. Bear with me. I flubbed my lines all throughout the pre-recording of that episode, by the way. Just
50? You were right about the grandfather. It was Lex Luthor's butler, Tony J, who is also the voice of Judge Claude Frollo.
Oh yeah, that's right, Frollo. Yeah, I remember. I remember the Beauty and the Beast thing. I forgot about Frollo. Yeah, it's Tony J. Not to be confused with Tony Jaa, but yeah. Stranger things have happened.
But yeah, this show just came out of nowhere. I was actually late to the boat on the show. I put off watching until actually the 3rd season when I just fixed it.
Really? Wow.
Very late.
But I'm glad I did, man. It just plays into the love of 80s horror and just 80s things that I enjoy.
80s-ness.
The 80s-ness of it all. It was like a precursor to It Chapter 1 in a way, not just because Finn Wolfhard's in both of them. But yeah, it's just what they were able to do and how they were able to keep you suspenseful and how they were able to have you fall in love with these kids, especially 11 in that first season was amazing. Yeah. The way they made the sheriff likable. Oh my God. Like, he became a household name because of that show.
Yeah. He was Hellboy.
Yeah. No, it's just a fun, great show. For me, I'd say my favorite season, though, is the 3rd season, the mall season.
Mine too.
Oh, yeah. But as a kickoff, rarely gets any better than this.
Have you seen this? I don't know what happened to people, but there was just, at one point or another, this huge, massive wave of hate towards season 3. Saying it's the worst of the 3, and like, well, a couple of years ago, so maybe it died down, but like a series of just people I don't know what's wrong with.
I think it kind of fell into the category of it got so popular that it's like one of those properties where it just got so huge that it just sparked a backlash. Titanic went through it, things like that. Like, it's just Avatar. Things just get so popular that people are tired of it.
Maybe, but I guess you only have their word for it. But the people who were saying that were people who were like, yeah, I love the first 2 seasons. So it's weird that the 3rd season was such a crap fest. I don't know. Again, like I said, you only have their word for it. But
yeah, I personally love it. I'm not a critic. I just watch these shows because I enjoy them.
Yeah, me too. All of us, in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of. My favorite moment of the show is in the season 3 finale.
Oh, of course, the never-ending story.
Yeah.
Never-ending story.
Oh shit, he does have a girlfriend. It's one of the few times the out-of-town girlfriend actually existed.
Yep.
All right, so 50. What's your number 3?
Season number the 3rd. A season that I do believe that
Oh,
season
sorry.
2.
I meant your number 4.
Yeah.
Again, I flubbed my lines all throughout the.
No. I flubbed it. I'm the one that said 3 by accident.
And I carried the flub. So it also falls on me. Anyways, my number 4. I do believe season 2 is the best of all the seasons of the show. But the first season is still really, really good. Such a shame that the show kind of went to shit after the second season. But it's partially in a franchise that's known for crazy third seasons that just send everything on a downward spiral after that. The Flash.
Oh, I thought you were headed.
Yeah. My name is Barry Allen, and I'm the fastest man alive. I don't remember the rest of the thing because they change it every season. But season 1, really solid start. And if it wasn't for season 2 being so good, this would have been my favorite season of the show.
Mm.
Just from the way it was made.
All the good things that people remember about the series generally come from the first season.
And
I would argue the first and second season.
Well, yeah, okay, for sure. Only thing I would change was I would change the costume. I wasn't a fan of that first season costume. Still looked a little weird.
I wouldn't because again, it's still year 1 for Flash. So
no, I agree. I
fine
wouldn't put him in the costume right away. It's just I would probably change it a little bit. Like the logo is a little too jarring. It's a little too jarring because there's no white on it. It's just a few little things that change.
But it's part of the story that that there's no white on it. There's no white on it for a reason.
And
season 1 gave us one of the top 2 villains in all of the Arrowverse, in my opinion.
Not just in Arrowverse. I put it in all the comic book media. Personally,
Reverse
I
Flash.
No,
Yeah,
Reverse Flash, but in the guise of the Doctor.
Yeah.
Because just think about
Xavier.
He's gone. He dies at the end of the first season. His presence reverberates through everything that follows afterwards.
But they keep bringing him back. So, like...
Versions, but I'm talking this first version of the Doctor Who. I'm sorry, his name is escaping me. Well, no, think about it.
Ian Khan.
Yeah, but as...
No, the Doctor...
Flash.
Wells.
Harrison Wells. Thank you.
Harrison Wells.
They're all different versions of Wells, but it's the first one because he was so close with the team. He was their father, and then to find out that he's the one that's the cause of everything that they're trying to stop, it just hits so much harder because they had that bondness.
Yeah, and like obvious comparison aside, it's like Xavier turned out to be the bad guy.
Yeah,
and again, not saying that because he's in a wheelchair. It's like the father of the team, not necessarily the leader per se, but
the father,
the father figure of all these kids with superpowers.
And then you can see how it hurts them all in the core, especially Barry because of how instrumental he was in helping him train. Run, Barry, run. The way he says it, it's encouraging but menacing at the same time. Run, Barry.
And what I love best about that season is that they waste no time letting you know that this guy's the villain. Literally episode 1.
Yeah.
They let you know that he can walk and that he's got something planned for Barry that we just don't know yet.
Fun fact, Star Labs is BC Place where the BC Lions play in the Canadian Football League. That is actually a football stadium.
Nice.
Yeah.
Real football or American football?
It's Canada's version of American football.
So still fake football. Okay. I get it.
It's not fake football.
They're holding the ball in their hands. How is this football?
They punt it with their foot.
The foot does one thing at the beginning of each run. And again, I'm not even a sports guy. Why am I even arguing about this? But how is it a football?
50. I think everyone agrees with you. In reality, like
I know, except dumb Americans. Well, what's the deal here? Why are you always going to be special, American?
He just called you a dumb American.
I hear that.
You're an American too, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, I'm America light.
Hey, North America is still America.
I'm American with less calories.
Diet America.
Yeah, pretty much. Alrighty, and so that was 50's number 4. So Ben, you're number 4.
What is my number 4? What is it? It's another. It's a DC show. Another one about a ragtag teen group of kids. Well, not kids, but ragtag weirdos. Doom Patrol.
Oh, that ragtag group of weirdos. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, it's not Legends of Tomorrow because that first season wasn't good.
I love this first season. It's so wacky yet deep. The casting is perfect. Brendan Fraser as Robot Man. It's something I didn't know I needed in my life until I saw it. Flex the Long Muscle is one of my favorite scenes in all of comic book TV. It's perfection. It is. Alan Tudyk is my top 5 comic book movie and TV show villains.
Oh, Alan Tudyk is just great in everything he does. I've only seen the first couple episodes of this, but I will say Brendan Fraser's Robot Man was pretty cool, and it's nice to see him finally have a renaissance that he shouldn't have had needed. He shouldn't have gone away. But
you know he did a show with Tom Welling?
No.
I forget what it's called. It hasn't come out yet, but it looks pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think, you'd mentioned it to me. That's right. You had mentioned it to me last year.
I don't know. Maybe I'm smoking the wrong weed, but I'm not as big of a fan of Doom Patrol as everybody else are. And the first season is the perfect example of that. There's no plot. Like, it literally feels like the showrunners are like, okay, in this episode, let's do this. And in this episode, let's do that. And in this episode, let's do this. So, like, every episode is different for some reason. With minimal connectivity. So, yeah, there is a mission in the first season. The chief is missing. They got to go find him. But along the way, they do all kinds of weird, random shit that doesn't even have nothing to do with getting the professor back, except the finale. And I'm not. I don't hate the stuff that's in the show. It feels too random.
It's not for you.
Yeah. I'll accept that. It's not for me. There's good stuff in it, just no cohesiveness.
I get that. I don't agree with that, but I get that.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what I have to say to you, Ben?
What?
The butts are coming.
The butts, yes. Release the butts. Release the butts.
Gentlemen, it's been an honor serving with you. If you haven't watched that first season, you are completely lost at this point.
Yep. I can attest to that.
Okay, so now what here, numero 3?
Game of Thrones. He's going to come out and say it's Game of Thrones. I remember, I didn't even know there were books for the very first time I saw this. My friends were getting ready to move back to territory I live now, in Vancouver, and I went over and hung out with one of them, and we popped in the first 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. So it was my first time watching it, and I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. I'm a little hard time following, but it's not bad. Until I saw Bran Stark walk in on the Lannisters.
Oh.
And I was like, what? And then they pushed it out. I was like, Start the second episode. Start the second episode. Like it hooked me. It hooked me to the point where I did season 3 in one day.
Holy shit! Really?
Never did that with a Game of Thrones show. That emotionally drained me for a week.
And then, wow, that finale, wow.
Yeah, no. Once I saw Bran get pushed out the window, it was like, okay, you've got my attention. Let's go. And if I'm not gonna lie, it didn't disappoint me from there on out. Were there weaker seasons? Of course, but I'm not. I've never read the books. I'm not into it like that. I'm into it because of the show. I like the show very much. But that first season, man, and then when you see Sean being beheaded at the end, you're like, wait, he's the main guy. What the hell?
Yep.
It's Sean fucking Bean. What did you expect?
And he's not the guy that's died the most in movies. That actually belongs to John Hurt.
The War Doctor?
No.
Makes sense. But
Oh no, not again.
here's another one of my problems that I have with this season. It's so obvious he's gonna die. So I don't understand why people were so surprised by it. It's textbook from episode 2 that everybody in the kingdom is out to get him. And
Right.
even his daughter walks up to him and says to him, there's people plotting to kill you. There's people, oh, child, what do you know?
That just speaks to how good that season is. That even though it was obvious, it still sucked you in. That you were surprised when it happened.
Not me. Not
No,
me.
no,
Even without knowing he's going to die.
I'm talking in general. Like people like me.
And me.
Yeah. It got me hook, line, and sinker, and that just speaks to the power of of that first season.
I only watched the first season and then never decided to go forward with it. And I had one of the same problems I have with Sex Education.
You're
don't
prude.
like it. What?
Said you're a prude.
Thank you for that. I do not like any of the characters. None of them are likable. I hate every single person on screen. And if that's the case, I can't go on watching it.
It's a good thing you didn't continue then, man, because wait until you meet Ramsay fucking Bolton. I hate
Hey, you had to bring him up. You had to bring him up.
Here's the thing. I gotta be very, very careful how I put this into words because it could be misconstrued. I have never intentionally hated a TV character more than Regina in the first 2 seasons of Once Upon a Time.
I actually kind of agree with you there.
Right.
Really? You hated him then?
I said I need to be very careful with my words. I hated her. I hated her.
Motivations. He just as a villain.
Let me speak, please.
I
hated her because you are supposed to hate her.
Okay.
I didn't want
Gotcha.
anything I said to be taken out of context because it's not a. I don't have the picture, but it's not a Clara Oswald situation where you're supposed to like that character and I despised her guts. No, you are supposed to hate Regina in season 1 and 2, and I have never properly, intentionally hated a character more than I did Regina in those first 2 seasons, but she came around. So I can deal with characters that I hate from the start if their stories are good enough that I can actually be on board with them and like them. Did not work for me in Game of Thrones. Didn't work for me in Sex Education. If I don't like the characters, and again, it was just Regina in that first season that I hated. Game of Thrones and Sex Education, other than Shuri Gatwa, I hated everybody. So I had no reason to continue. So that's just me.
Anyways, Game of Thrones season 1. Major thumbs up here.
You don't like the characters? What's the point of going? I wasn't going to waste my time watching something I hate. That's
of course. I have been contemplating doing a rewatch of the whole series. It's been a while.
I'm almost there. I don't know. I'm not quite there yet. Talking about the rewatch.
Alrighty, so that was my number 3. So 50, number 3.
Again, falling into the category of later seasons were better, but if that first season doesn't hook you the way it does, none of it works, and the 10 seasons of it don't work. Smallville.
Ah, nice.
Not on my list at all.
Mine neither.
That actually surprises me.
Really? Yeah.
It's on Ben's.
Wait until you see my number one will.
It's Lost, I know.
No,
Yeah,
it's not. No, it's not.
Oh.
Is it your number 2 then?
Anyway,
Continue.
We know you too well then. So yeah, like I said, if the relationship between Clark and Lex don't work, the rest of the season doesn't work. The relationship between Clark and his parents, Clark and Lana, Clark himself as a character, if none of it works in the first season, you do not go on this journey of discovery with young Superman. You don't get Terrence Stamp as Jor-El. You don't get the guy from Torchwood as Brainiac. And I know he was Angel.
James Marsters was in Torchwood.
Yeah,
He was?
Yeah, he was season 2, I believe, right? John Hurt? Yeah.
Oh, damn, I didn't know that.
He was sort of Captain Jack's boyfriend, frenemy.
Really? Wow, I can't see that.
Frenemy.
Let's put it this way. Spike and Captain Jack Harkness make out.
Yes. Like first scene they share together, Captain Jack walks into a bar. This sounds like a bad joke, but he walks into an empty bar. He sees John Masters. They pull guns on each other. They look at each other for 3 seconds. They make out passionately and then proceed to kick each other's ass.
Yeah.
All over the bar.
I can't wait to rewatch Torchwood, man. I've been freaking itching to rewatch that.
Yeah, just to avoid the season 4. Anyway.
No, even then, I want to watch it all too because I've never completed it. I want to get the whole experience.
Be it on your head, on your own head. Anyways, if season 1 of and Torchwood has an okay first season. Bringing it back to Smallville. Smallville, great first season, perfectly sets up, and the best thing about it is they dare not even go anywhere near comic book stuff. Every single villain of the week type character for the first 4 seasons, for the most part, is just random people getting superpowers from kryptonite. Most of which happen to be from Clark's school, so there's a bit of trouble. And the way they brought back certain characters from season 1 and spread them across subsequent seasons was also very well done.
Yeah, in particular, the bug guy.
The bug guy who comes back in the last season as a great way to reflect on the progression, how the season was.
If you see Clark, tell him I said thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is speaking of John Masters. He also shows up in that episode. He takes him to the future, where he actually gets to meet his future self, Superman, and they actually use the word Superman.
Yeah, as Brainiac 5000 too, which was a nice little nod to comics.
Yep.
So, Ben, what is your lost number? No, wait, that's too early. No, never mind. Ignore. I do not exist. Spoilers.
Spoilers. My number 3 is a show that hooked you right from the opening scene. Great acting, great story, incredible plot. Breaking Bad. If that first season didn't work, the whole show wouldn't work. And it's amazing.
Agreed. I've seen the first few episodes. It's good. It's really good. I can definitely see why it became a big phenomenon like it did.
50, why do you hate the show?
I don't hate the show. It's just, and maybe that's the problem with the way it was presented to me. I didn't hate it when I saw individual episodes of it. I just never really saw it from beginning to end. And I think I mentioned the story last week, but I just saw it when I spent some time with friends in the military. They were just sitting watching the show in their room, and occasionally I would walk in and watch a couple of episodes with them. I didn't understand a single thing that's happening because I missed like half of season 1, but maybe I should watch it from start to finish.
You should.
Yeah.
Put it on your list.
Yeah, and maybe I'll finally understand why when just a bunch of us military guys were just sitting at the mess hall eating lunch, just randomly talking about life, and then one person who was part of the conversation just randomly drops. But you know what the most important thing is, that Walter White's wife is a whore.
Oi.
Okay.
Just randomly in a conversation. We weren't even talking about Breaking Bad. We were just randomly talking. But the most important thing to remember, Walter White's wife is a whore. That's like, okay. How many people sitting there?
Interesting.
Okay, so now what's your number 2?
My number 2 is the only true comedy on this list, and it's also the oldest movie on this list. And it is an example of what Taco said in here, where most shows start strong and go downhill. Mork and Mindy.
I knew it was going to be on the list.
That first season is consistently funny. If you're talking about if things don't work, if that doesn't work, Robin Williams, as we know him, wouldn't have been Robin Williams.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have broken. I don't think he would have been as big. I don't think, or it might have been a little later. It might have happened later, but that first season, man, it's just, there's something special about that. Just the stuff that Robin Williams was able to bring, like, because his spaceship's an egg. In the first episode, he sees an egg on the counter. He's just like, "I'll set you free." Oh no, man down. Scoops it up, puts it in the sink, flushes it with water. Just shit like that. And you're like, oh my God, it's hysterical. The best episode is when Mork gets Mork's mixed feelings, because he starts to feel love, and it kind of, everything that you feel inside when you get that feeling, he's actually showing it outside. And it is fucking hilarious. Go check that first season out, man. If you love Robin Williams, it is a must. A must for any Robin Williams fan.
Let me ask you this. Mork and Mindy or My Favorite Martian?
Mork and Mindy.
That's all I need.
Yeah. Mork and Mindy. It's just, it's because of Robin Williams.
No.
Shazbot. Yeah, guys, just get off your keister if you can find it. Go check it.
I think you mentioned this to me once, or maybe I read it somewhere, that like for his audition, he came in and sat on his head.
Yep.
And the producers were like, "Yep, this guy's clearly an alien."
He's an alien, and that's how he won the part. Yeah, that's how he won the part to appear in the Happy Days. Yeah.
And
right, Mork is not an unhappy day. I forgot about that.
Yep.
And I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. I can't talk about that story without bringing up something from Doctor Who, from the Five-ish Doctors reboot, which is basically like a parody version of the 50th anniversary special, where Peter Davison, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy try to sneak their way into the Day of the Doctor set because they really wanted to be in the special, and Stephen Moffat wasn't calling them back. So at one point, they just steal the Doctor's costumes from the Doctor Who experience and sneak onto the set, and they just start walking around the sets. And then Peter Davison notices like a prop TARDIS. He's like, "Oh, let's go in there, let's go." And then all three of them, not very small men, Just, I'm going to point that out. All three of these large men enter this TARDIS prop, and they just lock the door behind them, thinking it's the real TARDIS, that it's bigger on the inside, and all three of them just stuck in there in this confined space in these hot costumes. And then Colin Baker turns to Peter Davison and goes, "You really are from another planet. Do you know that?"
Nice.
Yeah. If you're a Doctor Who fan, check out the Five-ish Doctors reboot. Especially if you're a classic Doctor Who fan, it's a must.
Alrighty.
And
now, what's your number 250?
speaking of Doctor Who, talk about if the first season doesn't work. This is the biggest example of all of our picks. And I don't even know your guys' number one yet, but this is the best example of if the first season doesn't work. 60 years of television don't work.
I knew this was going to come up eventually.
Yeah, Doctor Who, 1963. William Hartnell as the Doctor, first ever season, broadcast the day after the assassination of President Kennedy.
Wasn't it
No
delayed?
one was.
Wasn't it delayed
What?
because of that?
I was getting to that.
Sorry.
No one watched it because everyone was too busy watching the news. So the amazing producer at the time, Verity Lambert, demanded a repeat of the first episode right before the broadcast of the second episode. And just the introduction of that first 4-part serial, the way you get introduced to the Doctor. By the way, the Doctor doesn't even show up until halfway through the first episode.
So I've heard, yeah.
And the episode literally starts with Ian and Barbara as the first two characters. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the philosophy that Russell T Davies had when he started the modern series with Rose, or any other. I think even Stephen Moffat starting his first season focusing on Amy. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the philosophy going into starting Star Wars by focusing on R2 and 3PO. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's how George got the idea. The idea to start with the side characters as opposed to the main title character is a staple of storytelling henceforth. And starting the first episode, obviously going all the way back to the caveman era, establishes that this is a time travel show. And the idea that the TARDIS was stuck as a police box from the beginning, brilliant form of storytelling, genius idea right from the start, so early in the production. Follow that up with the Daleks in the second serial. Follow that up with a bottle episode taking place entirely inside the TARDIS. One of the best Doctor Who episodes ever with Marco Polo. Then basically Infinity War before Infinity War, or rather Infinity Gauntlet, I should say, with the Keys of Marinus. The entire first season, other than the last episode, which I couldn't care less about, top marks to every single episode. Every single episode is an S-tier episode, in my opinion. You establish that certain things in history should not be messed with. In the Aztecs, you establish that not all alien creatures are bad in the Sensorites. It's like the amount of detail that went into crafting just one season. And even the Reign of Terror, my least favorite episode of the season, first Doctor Who episode to be filmed outside of a studio.
Oh.
Wow.
That early in the show's history, if that first season doesn't work, I don't even want to say that Doctor Who wouldn't be a thing. Just think of how big of an influence, even though people don't think about it these days, or don't realize how big of an influence Doctor Who has had on pop culture and especially sci-fi in general. It predates 2001: A Space Odyssey. It predates Planet of the Apes. Obviously, it predates Star Wars, and George Lucas has confirmed that he took a lot of ideas from Doctor Who. There's even a John Pertwee episode where he took a single scene and recreated it shot for shot in A New Hope. And obviously, there's the spacesuit from the 10th Planet and the Wheel in Space, which became the iconic signature look of Bosk, the bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And like so many of the shows we have today, Star Trek, it predates Star Trek. I don't know if we would have had Star Trek the way it is if not for Doctor Who. Legend of Tomorrow, I don't think
I
we
would
would have
actually
had.
credit Lucille Ball more than Doctor Who for Star Trek.
I said I'm not sure. I
Okay.
said I'm not sure. Okay? Again, don't take my words out of context. But Doctor Who just permeated the pop culture zeitgeist. Even in that early stage, even in the 60s, it does not work without season 1. William Hartnell as the Doctor, William Russell as Ian Chesterton, Jacqueline Hill as Barbara Wright, and Carol Ann Ford as Susan Foreman. Those 4 people paved the way to history in more ways than one.
Very nice. Yeah, I'm not surprised that was on your list. I was actually shocked it's not number 1.
Yeah, me neither. I'm kind of worried we might have to say number 1, but I don't think we do.
It's the
To be
Lion
continued. To be continued.
Bird. All right, Ben.
Oh. My number 2 is Lost. You don't have...
Really? I
I'm-
never would have guessed.
Shut up. I love the show. And I feel in love with the characters. You don't have that without the first season. Every episode is a flashback to a certain character and makes you fall in love with it. There's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of drama, there's good comedy. This is a fantastic show that I love, that makes me happy.
Never seen an episode.
It's not that I've ever been against watching the show. I just never got around to it. And I really want to because it's the same showrunners from Once Upon a Time. And a
Yep.
lot of actors from Once Upon a Time started, or rather first appeared and lost. So it's definitely a show
Exactly.
that's on my radar, but never really got around to it. Should probably fix that at some point.
I always like to think that Lost is just another realm in the Once Upon a Time universe.
Could be. Maybe those guys can come up with a 3rd season that actually confirmed that this was all a shared universe.
It was a shared universe all along.
Yeah, and they're very good at sort of pseudo shared universes ish, like.
Yeah, they are. Alright, should we do honorable mentions?
Yes.
Okay.
So honorable mentions: Arrow, The Flash, Glee, and Umbrella Academy.
Okay,
Yeah,
for me, what about you, 50? You have any?
The Lion Guard, The Timon and Pumbaa Show, The Sarah Jane Adventures, and Once Upon a Time.
And Ben.
Friends, House, Castle, and The Slowdown.
Damn you. Damn you. You know
Oh,
what's funny?
wait till you hear my number 1. That was really for you guys.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know what's funny? I've never actually seen the first 2 seasons of the Schmodown. I started in season 3. My first ever match was Campia Merle, believe it or not.
Nice.
That's a good match. That's a really good match.
All right. So my number 1 is a TV show that a lot of people argue went 10 years too long. First season aired on the WB. Everything else was on the CW. Supernatural.
Supernatural.
Nice.
Supernatural!
First season is so good. It's a horror anthology about brothers chasing their father, played by the great Jeffrey Dean Morgan. That first season was so good, and there's a lot of people especially in the second episode, actually went on to have some great fame. Oh shit! What is the guy who played played Finn in Glee? He was in that episode. I'm blanking.
Corey Monteith?
Yeah, he was in that episode.
Wow.
And someone else who was in that episode, Alden Ehrenreich. Better
There you go, Han Solo, baby.
Yep. Yeah, he was in that episode. Yep. No,
Did he shoot first?
Sorry?
Did he shoot first?
No, he didn't shoot anybody. I don't think he's. I don't remember if he survived or not. But no, like I said, every episode, while it does have the major overarching arc of the Yellow-Eyed Demon, every episode is its own entity with its own villain and stuff like that. But having Jeffrey Dean Morgan sprinkled in throughout there as just like, oh shit, he was there the whole time type of stuff. You get to see the brothers start of their bond that we all know. You see it basically start here because at the beginning, Sam is off to college away from the hunter life. Dean drags him in because their dad went missing, and you see them try to resurrect. You see Sam trying to resurrect what he wants with his life with his actual old life. And spoilers, at the end of the first season, his girlfriend dies in the same manner as his mother, and that's why he joins them on the road.
Nice.
Yeah. No, like I said, definitely good shit. Good music, good writing, great episode. The first 5 seasons, great stuff. Even though my favorite episode comes from after that point. It's when they go LARPing.
Talking about Supernatural, did you see the trailer to the prequel?
No, I didn't even know they dropped it.
Yeah. Looks interesting.
But yeah, that is my number one. It is definitely Supernatural. Definitely Supernatural.
Do you prefer that over Smallville? I'm just curious.
Nowadays, I would say yes.
Okay. Nice.
All right, 50.
Do I even need to say it? Because,
Kind of have to.
I talked about it. If Hartnell's first season doesn't work, the entire show doesn't work. But if Christopher Eccleston's first season doesn't work, we might not be talking about Doctor Who the way we do today.
Well,
so,
you definitely wouldn't.
yeah, probably, because that was my introduction into this. I don't know if I would have been a Doctor Who fan if I haven't been exposed to the David Tennant series, which came out after Christopher Eccleston. But you got, regardless of behind the scenes shenanigans, and I'll leave it at that, you cannot avoid giving credit to Christopher Eccleston and Russell T Davies for bringing Doctor Who back. Like, it's been, even though we had the big, well, not me obviously, but even though there were still the big Finish stuff and the comics and novels, you needed Doctor Who to be back in TV form. And television is where that show made its bread and butter. Television is where it's going to stay. There's a reason it's still going, despite some questionable decisions happening in the last couple of years. And it's still going strong. We have a 14th Doctor now, 60th anniversary next year. The future is bright. Gotta give credit to Christopher Eccleston. And I said earlier that the last episode of Hartnell's first season I wasn't a big fan of. Eccleston's first season, I can't find a single episode I don't like.
Nice.
Out of all of them. So, yeah. Obviously, I can sit here and talk all day about Doctor Who, but that's why I have a show about it. So, check me out on there.
Yes, you should. All right, Ben, you're number one.
Okay, you might understand. It gets ready.
Oh, you cheeky son of a bitch!
Seriously! Of course, Ben cheats! Of course!
I'll allow it.
You know what? Just ever as before, ever just as sure as the sun will rise, Ben pulls out a massive cheat.
And 50 quotes The Lion King.
That was Beauty and the Beast.
Don't care.
You uncultured swine.
Hey,
That was Toy Story.
you sad, strange little man.
I mean,
Come on. How the fuck is this a treat?
Well, because I was thinking TV shows, but
well, he did say the Schmodown, so
that's true. That is true.
Come on. It's been great doing this show with you guys. Come on. It's fun every week, and we made all good friends, and there's not a week that I don't look forward to this.
Agreed.
And it's something we could keep online. It won't go anywhere.
Yeah, and I still remember the day where I asked you guys if I could join in. So because I wanted to talk about the Mufasa movie that was announced and still hasn't gotten anywhere. But that is how I got my start, just talking about the Lion King every week.
Very appropriate.
And we made some good friends, and yeah, it's awesome. It's ready.
And I can't think of a better way to wrap it up. Whose list is it next week?
Yeah, I think a good idea was to announce what will be my pick for next week. And this was already foreshadowed a couple of weeks ago when I said I was going to do a sort of sequel to the pick I had last time it was my turn to pick. Last time I said, which fictional historical characters would you want to watch movies or TV shows with? I'm doubling down on that. Which movies would you see with an alien from another who visits Earth for the first time, or another character? As long as it's someone who is aware of what movies are, so who has enough of a knowledge of what movies and TV shows are. What movies would you show an alien who comes to visit Earth for the first time? Show him the best of humanity, so to speak.
Yeah, does it have to be an alien?
It can be whoever the fuck you want. I mean, it can even be the people you chose for the list a couple of weeks ago. I mean, I don't remember half of mine. I don't remember yours, but just people who weren't around for movies, but are smart and intelligent enough to know what movies are as a form of storytelling.
Right on. That should be interesting. Be a lot of thinking on that one.
Yep.
All right. So, Ben, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me at my Twitter, Ben_Radio. You can find me at my YouTube channel, The Multi-Precept Kingdom. Every Monday on Dissecting the Schmodown. Every Tuesday on Jedi Academy. Every Friday on the Weekly Kingdom. Every Sunday on Unwind with Ben. You can also find me over here on this channel every Tuesday on Rewind That Tape. And every Saturday morning, bright and early, on the Northern Countdown.
And 50, what about you?
Well, you can find me stumbling and fumbling my way into complete sentences, much like I did today on Monday in the Greatest Show in the Galaxy, where I did the second edition of the Doctor Who quotes game, Doctor Who Said It, and trust me, you do not want to miss that one. And you can also find me on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek. I just did a couple of trailer reactions for some of the stuff from Star Wars Celebrations. I did the Endor series and Jedi Survivor. Can't wait to see if there's more. I'll probably review Stranger Things 4 as soon as I get some sleep, because as you can see, I need it. And well, you can find me on Saturday every week with these two knuckleheads.
Oh, you can also find you can also find me at 50 tonight, I believe, on the Northern Rankings.
I gotta contact Dave on that one, but yeah, pretty much.
And as for myself, you can find me on my personal Instagram and Twitter. It's soda_the_saxfan. You can find me on all the shows on this channel. These guys have already mentioned. You can also find me Wednesday nights on the Sports Slice, our wrestling show here. And you can find me later today over on the Dropkicks on the Let's Get Ready Network, talking wrestling over there as well. So on behalf of myself and 50 and Ben, thank you very much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, put into your comments what are your favorite first seasons of TV shows, and we will see you next week on the Northern Countdown. Have a good evening. Have a good weekend, folks. We'll see you next week.